So we'll just get started, and anybody jumps in can follow along from there. So we're talking about kind of Google Suite, all the cool apps that they have today. I don't have a fancy presentation, and by no means am I an expert in using it, but I use it every day in my business, and I'm always finding new things to improve the way I use it. But I guess I started with Drive, specifically Google Drive, which you see here, for those not familiar, is a cloud service. It's basically, like Dropbox or OneDrive. Hotmail has OneDrive. Google has Google Drive. And it's, everybody knows what a cloud service is? Yeah?
Everybody knows what?
A cloud service?
Yeah.
So it's essentially, a server somewhere else that isn't on your computer. It's decentralized, essentially. There's nothing on your computer. You're uploading it to the cloud, and it's being kept on someone else's server, probably in California somewhere, if I had to guess. Is that where Google is? Yeah. So I started with Drive. Essentially, it's funny. I heard. You know how Office, Microsoft Office, if you use Office, they started charging licensing fees. You have to pay like every year now.
Yeah.
The fee is something exorbitant to use their Excel, Office, whatever. And I got sort of tired of that. Hey, how are you?
Hi, buddy.
Welcome, no worries. I got tired of paying that license fee, and for the times that I used those programs. So I heard someone tell me that you can actually use something very similar through Google. So I looked into it, and basically that's how I sort of discovered this service, is essentially that you can access these programs. You can see here Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. So Docs is like Microsoft Word, Sheets is like Excel, Slides is like PowerPoint. And then there's a few others here, and this is kind of where my level of expertise is limited. I'm not familiar with these programs, but I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones. And they also allow you to connect to the store to get a bunch of other apps that also work directly with the Google Suite. So DocuSign, I'm sure you're all familiar with DocuSign, can be tied into it. So there's a bunch of unique stuff. You can customize it however you use it, which is it's basically my one-stop. I hate having logins with this program and that company, and trying to remember your passwords with everything. So essentially what I do, and this is Google Chrome, by the way, this browser. You're familiar with Google Chrome? So you can actually sign into Google Chrome, and it basically leaves you signed in. So if you go to anything related to Google, you're already signed into it. So there's no remembering passwords and trying to find this or that. I can click this grid here to find all of the apps associated with Google here, and of course there's a few more. Namely, like I said, I started with just using the Docs and Excel equivalents here, so I'll just open up one to show you. And if anybody has any tips, like I said, I'm no expert, so if anybody has used this before and knows something that they can help, please shout it out. But essentially, this is just Microsoft Word here. It's everything that you pay money for to Microsoft here for you for free. Anything that you can do there, you can do here. So I create. Let's just do a little test document.
Where did you find that again?
Okay, let me back up here. So in Google Drive. So
yeah.
I
got that.
Yeah. So if you're using Chrome, you can actually click on the Apps button here.
Oh,
in the top corner, and those are all the Google-specific apps. Chrome belongs to Google, so Google created Chrome. And so you have your apps here, open up Drive.
Okay.
I'm sure you can just type in Google Drive as well to go to the website.
Yeah.
Hit New.
Oh, new. Okay.
Is there a cost for this?
No, it's free. So Google Drive actually gives you up to, you can see 15 gigabytes. 15 gigabytes here. I'm getting close, so I might have to think about upgrading, but every time I get close, honestly, I can just delete some of the old stuff. I keep everything in here, my group, my videos, my photos for listings, my video tours for clients, all of my client documents. So I've sort of gone to a mostly paperless business. I rarely ever print anything out unless I really need to. And it's just made my life a lot simpler. I no longer have that stack of papers on my desk in my office that I have to go through every couple of weeks after it gets unmanageable. Everything is here. And as I get close to the 15 gigs, I can usually just clear out small videos or something. It's been 5-6 years since I started using it, and I'm still not at the limit. So I may get there one day, and then I'll have to upgrade, and at that point, you do have to pay for it. But to answer your question there, you just open it up. Google Sheets is basically your Excel equivalent. That's a great one too. So where was I here? So test, you can click whatever, and I don't even have to save it or anything. I just kind of end it there, and it actually just saves it right to my quick access bar in my Google Drive. And then, so you've got categories here. You've got My Drive. You can set up your own folders. I have folders for client documents, for example, so I keep all my client documents in their own folders. And the benefit of this for me is that, I can come into the office. We have a computer in our office, but there's computers in the bullpen too. You can just come in, access your files from wherever you are. You don't have to worry about, making sure your computer's charged or bringing it everywhere you go. And it's all also on here as well. Any of these apps, you can get the app on your phone as well, and you have access to the same files, the same.
Does it mean that you don't have to do a backup?
A backup of, so this is my backup. I don't even
Yeah.
have anything to back up because this is everything for me. Google Drive does offer a service, you can see it here, Get Backup and Sync for Windows. That's another app. Essentially what it does is if you install it on your computer that you want to back up, you can set up a schedule that it will upload everything from your computer that you've designated that you want to back up into Google Drive every so often, so it always stays current. But I've been there before. I've lost computers after they malfunctioned irreparably, and lost everything up to that point in time. So
Where's that tab, Tyler? Get back.
just down here. And
Oh,
the resolution's a bit different on here than it is there. Anyway, you can see it just below here. So that'll allow you to back up. If you do have files on your computer that you have at home, you can install that and back it up that way. But I don't even keep a hard copy of those things necessarily anymore because Drive is so efficient at keeping those things for me that everything's right here. So for example, let's say I get a call, right? I'm on my computer, I'm at my desk, I get a call from a client or a lead that I've been waiting to hear back from, which a recent one is. So I'm just going to click in the search bar here, and this computer's a little slow. Usually just it populates. My computer's a little faster than this. Yeah, okay, there you go. So I've picked up the phone. He's called me out of the blue. I wasn't expecting him at a certain time, so I need to be prepared for this call. So instantly I just type in his name right here, click on the document that I already have prepared, which is in one of my client folders. And on my computer it would be a little bit quicker, but you pull up the notes that you have on the person. Instantly you have that information at your fingertips. So that's
Is synced with your CRM or?
no. So this could be a CRM for you if you wanted to use it that way. We have a CRM that we use that's separate. I'm not part of the team, and that's what they want to use. But for my own personal use, this contains all of the information, all the files that I have, all of the notes that I have on that client, and I just sort of upload the data to our CRM every so often. So I just basically looked them up. Now I have the notes there. I can access it for that conversation. So that's kind of like the quick and dirty of it, is that it's all right there at your fingertips, no matter where you are, whether you're on your phone, at a computer, at the office with someone else's computer. It's all there for you. So a couple other cool things about Drive here. So you can see this says My Drive, and if I click on that, it'll say, this will show me all of the files that I've created here. So all of my folders, and you can create folders that make sense for you. I keep all my my personal tax files here as well, like pictures of my receipts. And what I'll do is I'll put I'll build a folder down here I'm not going to go into my personal tax file, but you can basically create a folder and then press right click on it, or if you have a Mac, I guess it's, I don't know how to use a Mac. Is it
Man button.
yeah, okay, there you go. I don't know how to use Mac so well, but you can share with other people. You put their emails in here, or you can just create a shareable link. If you click on this, I can just copy and paste it here, and then paste it into an email to say, hey, here's my receipts from 2019, and then they can access them and see what they need to see, and then I can remove them if I no longer want them to see. So you control access to whoever you want to have access to your file, which is great, by the way, if you're working as a part of a team, for example. I can just create the files here, share with them, put their emails in here. So I could, type in Julie's name here. I already have her set up here, so I could send it to her. She'll get an email notification that I shared the document with her. And now anytime that she wants to access it and edit it, she just has to open it up. And it'll actually show up under shared with me. So any documents that have been created by someone else but shared with me, I can come here and see that. So all of our team documents that we share with each other are here. You can see, for example, like we keep track of our leads, our deals, our numbers here, and then that way when we're in a team meeting, we can just open up the file all together, and you can actually see. When you open it up, you can see if anybody else on the team is in it. It'll actually show an icon up here, and it'll show who's actively editing that file at that time. And you can even see a cursor that shows what they're doing. You can see what they're doing in real time. So you can be editing a document at the same time, which is really nice. So that's shared with me. You can see what you've recently accessed. Another nice thing is that when I'm taking a video tour, for example, of a listing, say I want to send a walkthrough for a client that's out of town. So I go preview the listing for them, I record on my phone, and then I can basically, I guess I can't show it to you here, but if I go to my gallery, so there's my niece, she's just baptized on Sunday, she broke her leg, which is really sad, but. So I can go here, open up like say the video, because videos, they tend to be these days at the resolution that we film them at, they're way too big to be sent, via email in any sort of traditional sense. So instead of actually attaching the file to the email and sending to the client, you just go into your gallery on your phone. There's going to be a little share icon of some kind, depending on your phone, and then if you have Drive installed, so I'd recommend getting Drive, Hangouts, Docs, all those apps on your phone here, and then I can just save it to Drive, press save, and it will actually upload in real time onto your Drive, and it should show up here. Again, the computer's a bit slow. So it's from there you can share the link or put the person's email in there so they can access it. That way you're not actually taking the file, attaching it to an email, sending it through to their email. Everything's done through the servers here, so it gives you a bit more power to do stuff like that.
Just regarding that, a file that you're sharing, how do you go into control? Like you said, you can remove who can access it. Is it if you just click on the file, is there a place to
check? Yeah, so in the same way that you add someone, let's just see here. So I've opened up the menu here. Let's go to share. So I didn't create this file, so I can't control who it's shared with. The person who created the file can do that.
Will it show it there when you click on share?
It'll show it there. You can remove people. Okay. You can add more people. Yeah. Yeah, and you can share. It gives you options to share it through, Gmail, through Google Plus. Who uses Google Plus? I don't know. Facebook, Twitter. So there's lots of options there.
Can I just ask you, so let's say you're sending that link the video to your client in Vancouver. Does he then have to install something on his end in order?
Good question. So most people have a Gmail address, which means they can access, if you have a Gmail email address, you can just open up the file and
Oh, yeah?
access it that way. But if they don't, it'll actually, whatever email, say they have like a Hotmail address, you send it to them, you share that email address through Google Drive, it'll send an email to them to ask them to open it up, and they'll have to create a sign-in into Google to open it up. I'd say, 90% of people have Gmail addresses these days, so it's pretty ubiquitous as far as people's ability to access it.
But they can't download it, right?
They can download.
They can download.
Yes, and you can share. You can allow people, when you're sharing, you can actually. I don't know that I've done this recently, but you can change the permission so people can either view or edit the material. If you share it with them, they can download it, but you can control whether they're allowed to change the information.
So when you share it automatically, they're allowed to download it?
Yeah.
You could, oh, I thought they're just viewing on your drive.
Let me, that's a good question, actually. Apologies for the delay here, guys. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Can edit, can comment, can view. So it doesn't look like there's any sort of barring them from downloading themselves. If they want to, they can download and keep a copy of it themselves, which you'll have to decide if that's something that you want to share with someone. But in most cases, if you're sharing with someone, you're giving them access to it so they can do whatever they want with it. So yeah, that's how I use it. I use it for all my personal documents, my tax documents, my client documents. We use it as a team as well to share all of our files. So essentially, that's Google Drive. Now there's also, I won't go into too much, Gmail. I think most people have Gmail accounts. The nice thing I like about Gmail as an email service is that I don't need to put any sort of filters or junk email filters. It kind of categorizes everything for you. So it puts all of the important emails into the primary, and then you've got like the junk emails, people selling you stuff. It sort of reads through them, has an algorithm for finding out what's actually useful and what's just trying to sell you things, and separates it for you. Then we have, do you guys use Google Calendar at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Google Calendar is great, and you can access it, again, right here through any of these apps, through Gmail. So you can see I've just opened up my calendar while in my email here. And anything that I put in here, I can set with a reminder through here, so it'll pop up here. Similarly, if I'm writing an email here, it'll grab things like dates and times and ask if I want to create an event for it here. So everything kind of communicates with each other, which is one of the benefits of keeping it all in-house, in the Google house. And of course I have Google Calendars on my phone as well, so I can immediately put something into my calendar to access it from wherever I am. So from Google Drive too, I can also access my calendar. Okay, two other apps that I use frequently are tasks. So everybody has a to-do list. You write it down on a piece of paper, you put it in an app on your phone or whatever. Google Tasks is great for keeping that to-do list. You can put everything in here, add tasks. You can have multiple lists for personal things, work things. You can add it. You can mark it off as done. Click it. You can edit it. You can actually add details as well, add the time and date, which again will put it into your calendar for you. So that's great. And then adding extra notes, adding subtasks in your tasks. So I've found that this is the best for me to keep to-dos because again, I've downloaded Google Tasks on my phone as well. So whether I'm on the road or in my office, it's accessing the same things. It's all in the cloud. Nothing's ever
Is that
located in
another
one spot.
app then for tasks? Is that another
Yes.
Google Tasks?
So if you go to your Google Play Store or Google or Apple Store, you should be able to download any of these apps. So you have Google Drive, Google Calendar, Google Hangouts, Google Tasks. Another one that I've just recently discovered is Google Keep, which is essentially a notes app. So you can write notes on anything, you know, grocery lists, exercise workouts, whatever, and it keeps it in attached to your Google account, so you access it from your desktop or your phone.
What's Google Hangout?
Google Hangouts is it's basically a conference calling. It's like Skype or Zoom, for example. Essentially, you can for free just access it, and you can contact anybody, have conference calls. You can take notes together. You can screen share, that sort of thing. We've been using it a lot lately for training, so we have a couple of new agents on the team, so we all get together on here and train that way.
It's typically on the phone though, not connecting by.
Is it like a
You can
video?
call phones as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like a video conference call, just like Skype.
Exactly, yeah. It's just all in-house, so it's all connected, it all talks to each
Right.
other, which is beneficial. So all of your Gmail contacts will automatically be Hangouts, for example.
So Google Docs, that's a separate app as well?
Google Docs is a separate app. So I don't keep Google Docs on my phone.
Okay.
Because typically Google Docs it's that Microsoft Word equivalent, that word processor. So you're usually on your computer writing a file.
Okay.
It's nice to be able to access that document from your phone whenever you like, but you don't need Docs on your phone to do that. You can just open up the file in the Google Drive app on your phone, and it'll pull it up.
Okay, gotcha.
And you can edit it from there. So I just keep a little folder on my phone with my Google apps that I use, and I can just open it up. So for example, a cool thing that I really like that makes my life a lot easier is we can have several listings going at the same time sometimes, and we have lockboxes on those places. Rather than having to call into the office and ask for the lockbox and book a showing or whatever, I just pull up the Google Drive app. And I search in the search bar. So there's an equivalent search bar. It's basically the same thing on the computer as the phone, even though you can't see what's on my phone here. And I type in lock boxes on the search bar. And then it pulls up our Google Sheets lockbox list right there, which allows me to see the address and the lockbox that's on that door and access the property. So. Everybody's going to have a different use for it, but the thing I love about it is that nothing is centralized. I don't have to worry about losing my computer. I don't have to worry about putting my lists, my tasks, my events, my files in different places, or sending them to myself, or people sending them to me. Everything's just kind of talking to each other, and you do it once, you sign in once, it's always with you. I sign into Google up here, and then it's always signing in for me. If I open Google Chrome, all the apps are there for me.
All your offers for the last 10 years, you've loaded them into Google?
You can. I don't put offers in there. So my understanding is that you are supposed to maintain either a hard copy or a centralized access to your deal paperwork. So you can put it in here and have access to it, but that would be an extra step, right? Because now you can, DocuSign, as I showed you before, does have connection to Google Drive, so you can actually upload it directly from there if that's what you want to do. But those I do keep centralized, and I keep a printed copy of all my paperwork.
Okay.
Not because I want to, but because Julie wants to have hard
What
copies.
do you mean
of everything.
centralized?
So it just means one location versus in the cloud, which is basically accessible from anywhere at any time. There are some rules around what you're allowed to keep in the cloud. And the last I checked, I don't know, this was probably about a year ago, but they said that you weren't allowed to keep those things.
My understanding is that if you keep it in the cloud, it has to be on a server that's in Ontario.
Yes, that's what I heard as well.
And Google is not in
That's
Ontario.
right. So that's exactly right. So keeping it centralized, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to, break any rules, but essentially you have the ability to do so if it benefits you, but I would still keep those centralized files.
And when you're showing clients, you have all the listing information, like you go in with an iPad?
I go in with my, I have a Surface Pro, like Leslie here, which acts as a tablet, and then I just, now that's not using this, it could be, I could upload those files as PDFs to my drive and have access to them anywhere.
Right.
I don't really find that to be a useful extra step for me. I usually just send them to my email, open them up on my phone, or on my computer and bring them with me.
Okay.
What other apps do we have here?
Would you suggest putting home inspections on here?
Oh yeah, well, home inspections accessible through Google Drive, especially because you're going to be sharing, if it's your listing, I imagine.
Yes.
Rather than, again, attaching it, being on your computer at your office, attaching it to there, scanning it to different computers, upload the PDF to Drive, and then you just share that with anybody. You share, so remember how I showed you the shareable link? So again, going back here, get the shareable link, and you can cut and paste that and just send it to any agent that you need to send it to.
Either could you just copy and paste that link to the your listing, isn't it, as an attachment?
Can you copy and paste? No, you're not allowed to put links on, you mean on MLS?
Yeah, you know how you would do like a link to your virtual tour or something, you can just put it in there, could you do that with this?
That's a good question, I don't know. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. I know you're not allowed to have website information. I don't know.
Cool.
Any questions about any of this so far? So there's a backup section here if you want to download that app and have it automatically uploading all of your computer files at home to the cloud. That would be a good idea too. That way if your computer ever breaks down, you don't lose anything. Again, this is kind of like, where I keep everything anyway, so I don't really care if my laptop gets stolen or destroyed, because I have access to it.
And there's no charge for any of this?
No, up to 15 gigs, it's free. After that, you do have to pay an amount. I'm not actually sure how much they charge because I've never had to bother looking at it. Doesn't
Probably
say.
a monthly fee or something.
Yeah. Let's see, Gmail. Maps is cool too, everybody knows Maps. Again, it ties in, you can add the location of a showing or meeting into your Google Calendar. Do I have Google Calendar open? You can put the location into your scheduled events and then click, it'll be a hyperlink for you that you can just click and it'll bring up Google Maps on your phone, to be able to find where that is. So, that's pretty basic stuff here. Google Calendar, if you don't use it, it's really great for a couple of reasons. The reason why I would really like it, maybe some of the other calendars have this now, but Google's been doing it for so long. You can share calendars with people. So I have my own personal calendar here, color-coded red, and then I have our team calendar, our marketing calendar, and a few different things here. So you can click on and off those things and only show the things that you want to show. Just to declutter or focus on your own personal tasks. And again, all this is shared, so you can, add people, add guests to events and that sort of thing. So that's pretty basic calendar stuff. I think most calendars will do that. But again, the benefit to keeping it all within Google is that they talk to each other. So I create this here, and it'll remind me through my Gmail. If I create it in my Gmail, it'll actually add the event to my calendar. So it all talks to each other, which is your best. Talk to it, Hangouts. Yeah, so essentially that's kind of an entry-level look at it. I really like, my favorite things are obviously, having my files on Google Drive, being able to share them with people and have people share them with me. This note-keeping app is really great to have both on the computer and on my phone at the same time. Google Hangouts is a great little tool, but you can use Skype for the same thing. But really, not having to download Microsoft Office, pay for it everywhere you go, I think is a big deal.
What is the G Suite? Is that related to this?
G Suite?
Yeah.
It's probably the Google Suite of apps, so it's like everything.
Oh, okay, so it's
that
just
there.
right.
I've not heard it called that, but I would guess that's what they're referring to there.
Mhm.
And again, there's so many more apps that you could look into if you just poked around. That's how I found the Google Tasks thing that I find really helpful. And then, you know, you can connect. I think what I might look into next is this DocuSign connection, because I use DocuSign all the time. So if I can, you know, do an offer and upload it right to there, I would still keep the files on my own computer, you know, just to keep it centralized in case something happens with the cloud. But if you can upload it directly from the program, again, it's talking to everything. So Google's so, you know, connected to everything, invasive these days, that, you know, pretty much anything is connected to everything else.
Sorry, can you say that again, how you incorporate DocuSign with Google?
So I don't know how I would do it. I'm saying that's the next thing that I would want to look
What
into.
was the idea that?
So if you're using, so say you're doing an offer with a client, you sent it to them for signatures, they sent it back, it's in your DocuSign account.
Right.
I would imagine if it's then tied to your drive, it's also saving to your Google Drive. So you don't have to, again, physically go. By the way, you can manually, if I go here, new, I can go to File, Upload, and choose a file that's on my computer at that time, or a folder, and upload it to my drive so that I have access to it. So anything that's on your computer now, obviously you can put onto Google Drive. It doesn't have to be created in, you know, Google Docs, Google Sheets, you know, those programs. You can actually just, you know, manually put it up there. But rather than have to go through those extra steps, it's so tied into everything that I would guess that DocuSign just allows you to directly upload it to Google Drive without having to do the extra steps.
And Google Sheets is basically, in terms of comparison to Excel, same?
Identical. I've never found something that Sheets can't do that Excel can do. All the formulas are the same, all the features are the same. It's basically, for any sort of entry-level use, it's identical.
If somebody sends you an Excel document, do you have to open, I mean, you know, automatically open it in that, or?
So so say someone sends something to you the old school way of, you know, attaching the file to the email and it comes to you, you can download it and then upload it to your drive and then open it with Google Sheets, even if it was made in Excel or what does Apple call theirs?
Numbers.
Numbers? Yeah, so whatever program it's used in, you can upload it to Drive and then open it as a Sheets file, and it's completely compatible.
You can edit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just lastly, because I haven't used it for photos and stuff, but it would just be like if you're taking photos and videos on your phone, you just upload it through Drive to your...
Yeah, so I back up all of my cell phone photos to Drive. There is a Photos app as well, which you might find useful.
Does it just save in general in your Drive?
It's a backup program,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
yeah. So any time you take a photo, it'll automatically
Okay.
send it to Photos.
Yeah.
And then you can access it there. It does the same with video as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, just being able to upload it and not have to send giant files to someone,
Yeah.
you know, with the size of files these days, it just makes so much more sense to just give them the link and let them download it themselves if they want it. But I think that pretty much covers, you know, my understanding of Google Drive. Does anybody have any questions about, or any suggestions on how it might be used? I'm open to suggestions too.
Have you created a good system for filing?
You know, not really, to be honest with you. I'm not the most organized person, which is another reason why this really makes a lot of sense to me, is because everything is in one place. I don't have to worry about managing, you know, different programs and accounts. So I'm not super organized that way, but definitely I keep my my client documents handy. You know, all of my active clients are here, and then I archive the ones that I'm not using anymore. And then I also have, we use this like pre-qualifying listing question. So when we get a listing lead, again, it's so fast. I call a client, I type in pre-qual listing, and then it pops up. I open up the file, and I can start asking the questions that are on the pre-qualification script here. Then I take that, after it's filled in with the answers, as I'm on the phone, I'm taking down the answers, and then I take that and I copy it directly to a new folder with that lead's name on it, and now I have access to
Right.
their information at any time. So it's essentially doing, you know, what a CRM does without the extra steps of having to open, you know, your CRM program and, you know, create a new contact and blah, blah, blah. It's all right there in the folder, so that's kind of how I use it, that I find really convenient. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. If you want to sort of try setting this up on your computers and you have any issues with it, you want to give me a call, I can probably walk you through it. Again, I'm not a super expert, but I've been using it for about 5 years now, so I can probably, you know, we can get through it together.
So you use all your contacts with your clients on there, and how, so where does the CRM come from?
So our team carries a CRM, and that's useful for, you know, for Julie or anybody to be able to sign in. If I'm away, you know, they can go in. So anything that I do on here, I'm also sharing that information to our CRM. There's no clean way to do it. Not that I've found. I should probably look if they have an app for our CRM to see if there's any direct connection. But essentially, I'm copying any information that's there into their CRM entry. But this is just quicker to access immediately for me on my phone and on my computer.
So you're using this for all your phone numbers and things, you know, so
Yeah, well, for most leads and stuff, yeah, I still have obviously my CRM here if I need to look up like a 10-year-old client or something, you know, that way. I tend to only keep my active clients or my recent clients on here, but yeah, it's pretty accessible that way.
So if you're just using your phone, your iPad, I'm on, excuse me, I'm on it now, and I don't see where it says if you want to set up a file. Like, how would you do that? Like, it doesn't have the same,
Which app are you in?
Google Drive.
Okay, so you're on Google
Yeah,
Drive.
I've got my Drive, and I've got, see the thing on the left here? Doesn't,
So what are you trying to do, sorry?
Yeah.
I don't even have push here, I don't even have that button here.
What are you trying
If
to
you
do?
wanted to set up a new file, like say you wanted to import something into it and put a new file, can you do
Oh,
that on
like
your
upload
phone?
it?
Or, yeah, on the app, or is it only on your computer? Because that's what I'm looking for.
So can you upload from your phone? So you
Or
have
set up a
file?
new file, yeah, just organize a new file on your phone. Like there's no file
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes,
Drop down.
so if you,
online anyway.
at the bottom you see files, is there files in the bottom?
No, there isn't.
So on the home screen here, you have a home
Yeah.
screen open?
Yeah,
There's no icons along the bottom?
I've got this on the side, right? This is what you're talking about. And this is nothing here for files.
So press the plus here.
Oh, right at
And
the
then
very
you can
bottom.
create a folder,
Oh,
you can
okay.
create a
So
document.
here, so
Yeah.
just press, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's to create.
Okay, so that's.
Like I said, you're probably not creating like a new Excel spreadsheet on your phone.
No, no, no,
Sometimes
just,
you-
and if I wanted to organize what I've already got on there, can I do that and drop it?
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be
Is that a
easier
lot
on your
of stuff
computer, to
on
be
it?
honest, but if you wanted to do it from your phone, I'm sure you could
Yeah.
probably figure that out. Okay, so that's it for me. Nice and short.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Does anybody else want to, like, if you want to leave, you can leave, but does anybody else want help setting up their computers or phones with?
I probably will, but I think I'm just gonna start by fooling around with everything.
And honestly, that's how I did it. Google makes things so simple that
Yeah.
it's usually just a matter
Exactly.
of fooling around with it until it makes
Mhm.
sense. Just one other thing about Google Hangouts. If you create an event in your calendar for, say, a Google Hangouts call, you can actually connect, you can add conferencing, which is pretty cool. I just discovered this the other day. So you can actually add a Hangouts, and it's asking to open my calendar because it wants to, again, speak to each other. And then when I add guests to this event, so if I add a colleague, for example, at that time it'll open up and it'll give you an indicator to say, hey, do you want to start the Google Hangouts session.
Do those other people have to have Google Hangouts?
So the thing about Google Hangouts is you actually don't necessarily need Hangouts. If you have Gmail,
Yeah.
you can actually create conversations
Right.
from Gmail on the left-hand side here. You just start a new conversation, you create a new group with anybody who you want to invite to it, and then you can actually have your video conference call from there. It is Google Hangouts, but Hangouts is its own sort of app if you want to use the app, because you can download it on your phone or on your computer.
Oh, cool.
Cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks. No worries. Just make sure if you are signing in on, the bullpen or something, that you sign out afterwards too, because it goes both ways. As accessible as everything is, it's accessible to everybody on a public computer. So all my emails, everything, my files, everything can be accessed from someone else's computer if I'm still signed in. So always make sure you sign out of a public computer before you stop using it. So is there any questions?
I just wanted to ask you about the spreadsheet. So if you put in your receipts and stuff, how do you add it?
Another, there is another good point, so you can actually take photos of receipts that you have and then upload them to a folder in Drive titled Receipts.
Oh,
And that way you always have access to all of your receipts. I mean, you should still keep the hard copies, CRA wants you to keep them.
Right,
But to have digital copies that you can then, share that
with your
folder
bookkeeper,
with your bookkeeper accountant, they have all the
admin
information.
person, whoever.
Exactly, without having to
Oh.
send a box of receipts. over.
I love you.
so you take pictures and save them on Drive?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, what did
Can-
you?
No, I was wanting to know these spreadsheets,
Mhm.
right? If you wanted to add or do something, then how do you use it?
How to use, well, that's a long conversation in terms of how to use a
Okay.
spreadsheet program.
You going in?
So you can change the name of it, you just click on it.
Okay, that's fine, I'll do this.
And then you can edit it as you go.
Excellent,
Now, how to actually use spreadsheets and the functions, I mean, that's a whole course in
Oh,
itself.
is it? Okay.
I can use the basics.
Yeah, that's all I want.
So say,
Yeah.
so say you've got a couple of different numbers.
Confidence, never mind.
That too.
And then I
That
want
too.
to-
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
good. I mean, even like you
some
use,
brackets,
you use the
A1.
calendar, not the calendar, to make an appointment.
colon,
The,
I use Google Calendar already, and then
Right.
Drive.
and it'll actually give you
Yeah,
a total
uh,
of
So
those
how
together.
did you do
But
it? You did the shift?
I'm not as
No, I
proficient.
just press this.
Oh, God, no,
Oh,
neither am I.
you did
I'm
equal?
all-
So I fluctuate
some-
between 2 different laptops.
Oh, really?
Because I had different software on each, and now
Both,
I'm trying to get them
and then,
both to the same point, but I wasn't there yet.
Is it Mac we're using or your?
No, I mean, it's
No, it's
right.
just
Once
my
you start learning,
Surface,
you just
and
kind of,
then
and then it kind of gives you the rules
I
on
have a
how it's supposed
larger-
to look like. So
a
the
larger
first
laptop.
cell to
Yeah.
the last
And,
cell, okay. It's basically saying, what's the starting point, what's the
so I'm
end
getting
point?
that
And then it
piece figured out.
totals
And
it.
then
Ah.
You can
so
also
I've
do
got, I
things
end up,
like,
randomly, I end
equals,
up with client files on both
A,
computers,
Yeah,
and then in Drive.
One,
I
yeah,
have no idea what's what.
times.
Just trying to get it all together.
Yeah, just put everything together then.
Yeah,
times
and now
five.
I'm like, okay, the receipts have to go in there, and then I can share that.
Right. Just put
Yeah.
down formulas that they'll use.
That is like another.
Yeah, it's like a whole different conversation.
Right, I know on this the first time.
I want it all.
Thank you.
It was important, but so I don't share
Yeah.
my
Well, and I
calendar, or
think-
have, share someone else's calendar with me. How do I do that?
Bookkeepers use
Okay,
books, right?
so then,
It's just a calendar, because I don't use Google Calendar, I have the.
It goes right away.
Once I
Oh,
touch,
okay.
I'm sure it with
I
my
think.
son, or have my son
Is that what
share
you
this with me.
No, so I was using, last year I used, for myself, I was using Wave, which is free, which I like. And it has an app for taking photos and it uploads, but it's really, like, it's a steep learning curve for me. A,
Yeah.
I'm not a bookkeeper, and
Yeah.
B,
Right.
just, preparing, I managed my way through it the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
year,
yeah.
but, yeah, I'd rather stick a fork in my eye, than do my books.
Yeah, maybe
We're not used to using it up.
On the, yes, well, sometimes, you should be able to do it on the phone.
You should,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So most of these things I set up on the computer and then I'm just accessing them from my phone. I don't do a lot of the setting up and setting up things on my phone.
Yeah,
My phone's just like the quick access to get to
right,
them.
so you might not be
Yeah,
able
that's
to.
right.